Unpopular opinion, but I do have a problem with the westernization of K-pop. I've mentioned it in the previous video, but I want to dive deeper in this one. To be clear, I don't have any problem with westernization itself because K-pop was born from Western culture and will always be bound to evolve towards it. My problems lie in the execution of the company in the way they pander to the Western audience, and how they sacrifice their artists' artistic integrity and core essence. For example, we have the uncanny English lyrics, or the culturally appropriating outfits and hairstyle. But in this video, we'll talk about the collaboration with Western artists. Don't get me wrong, in both K-pop or Western music industries, collaboration between artists can feel redundant and just look like a cash grab. But I feel like, when it's K-pop with a Western artist, that level of cash grabness can be even clearer if it's done poorly. And there will also be a conversation about how the cultures between two artists blend into each other into a sound, not just language-wise, but also genres-wise. And to be frank, for a lot of the time, most K-pop artists have to sacrifice their core identity to produce a generic Western pop sound with English lyrics. But on rare occasions, there can be magic sparked between these two entities that show us that they can coexist and collaborate with each other. At first, I named this video The Art of Collaborating with Western Artists to dissect and rank the major collaborations with Western artists in K-pop. But then I realized I must include BLACKPINK. And when I looked at their collabs list, they have an extremely stacked lineup. And I'd say that that lineup is the biggest and most interesting list I've ever seen in K-pop. Yes, even bigger than BTS. Thus, I want to make an entire video dedicated to them only before I go into other artists. So in this video, we will go through all of the Pink's Western collabs in reverse chronological order, from groups to their solos. Please note that this only accounts for their Western collabs only, so their features with K-pop artists like Zico or GD will not be accounted for. Let's go through the criterias. Number 1 is obviously the quality of the song. Is it generic or exquisite in terms of lyrics, production, and melodies? But not less important is the balance between the two artists. Do both artists have equal contribution to the songs, or one's just there for the sake of being there? Last but not least, and the most important one in my opinion, is their chemistry. How do their styles interact and blend into each other? And in what way? Because there are many directions these chemistry can bloom into. The first tier is immaculate dynamics. Like there's a world before and after these collabs. The chemistry between the two artists literally blur the lines between K-pop and Western pop. Both parties came into the studio and maximized their joint slay. The second tier is cute chemistry. It's group work, and all members know what they are doing and do their jobs. These collabs are the standards of how K-pop artists should at least follow when collaborating with Western artists. The third tier is mid-combo. They are not that bad, but there's something really off. Like either one artist is overshadowing the other, or their dynamic is just so bland. The fourth tier is bland blend. These are the musics that will be played in shopping centers and elevators, and there's nothing memorable to revisit. Most collabs are cash grab, but these ones are a bit too obvious. I get that there's been a rise of conservativeness in America recently since Biden committed genocide and now Trump's in administration. But goddamn, why does it have to infiltrate music and art space? From Morgan Wallen to Benson Boone and now Alex Warren, there really is a different world out there, because I literally don't know any of these men until looking at the chart. I gave them a try and I'm just so tired of this Mormon music or country aesthetics. It's just so bland, generic, predictable, and brings nothing new and memorable to the table in terms of lyrics, productions, and melodies. The story basically explores the post-breakup situation where the narrators still feel the presence of their exes in everything they do, no matter how they try to ignore it. The concept is cool and can be executed in an interesting way. For example, show the different points of views of two lovers, but there's not much difference lyrically in both Rosé and Warren's verses, as they just both missed each other badly with some generic metaphors. This is the typical boring white girl music criticism that I often gave to Rosé's album, and unfortunately, she didn't surprise or prove me wrong with this collab yet. But at least in Rosie, there are still some tracks I can feel are unique to Rosé, like APT or Drinks of Coffee. In contrast, On My Mind just sounds like she can be replaced by any other Western girlies with no individuality from her. What I will credit them at least is how their voices sound decent when blending into each other since they make the same type of music. But overall, it's so unmemorable and deserves the bottom tier. This is what I mean by elevator music, not just because Lisa's in an elevator. Maroon 5 has been a legacy act for a while now, as people slowly accepting that their music can't evolve beyond all of those generic musics produced just to be played at the mall and elevator. Their last hit was the one with Cardi B, I think. And when Lisa announces this collaboration, I don't expect much, and it really did not give anything much. It would be a hit if it's released 10 years ago when Maroon 5 was still in their prime with this outdated sound. The lyrics are so repetitive with no substance other than some poor attempts to make the metaphors of money, price, diamond cheap, under the theme of complimenting that the girl's priceless. And Lisa's Doja Cat flow doesn't add much flavor to save the song, in my opinion. Maybe if it's more fiery, longer and original like Cardi B's verse in Girls Like You, I'd reconsider, but for now it's in where it needs to be. At least the music video is kinda cool. Damn, we didn't start off really strong, did we? Damn right.
Damn right, I did that. Damn right, yeah. Damn right.
Which is also the song that will light up the mood. This is one of the rare times that there's more than 2 collaborators on a track, and they definitely didn't disappoint. And this is also where we can have a serious conversation about dynamics. Because for me, in a collaboration, there are multiple ways that the artists' energies can interact with each other. And in this one, I would love to call it linear progression, because there's an obvious progressive storyline here. Jennie started off the song with her slow and sultry R&B voice since she's the main artist, but also as the female narrator of the story, inviting her newly met man to the car as both of them travel on a romantic night ride to his condo. We already know what they're doing, right? The first damn right is to congratulate her sealed deal. She then passed the torch to Callie Uchis to continue this seemingly one-night stand story as our female narrator is in heaven because of how good the sex is. And Callie Uchis' signature siren voice just makes the scene even more sexier and majestic. This second damn right is about how she knows that she just had the best sex of her life. The third verse flipped everything to the perspective of the male lover, performed by Childish Gambino. And the tempo also fastened as he switched from Jennie and Callie Uchis' slow vocal to a ranting rap. It is obvious that this man felt all of the sex way more intensely. This was the best sex he has ever had, and she's the best girl that he's ever been with after all of those models. I find it so funny that the girl just feels satisfied with the sex, while the guy just trauma-dumped and overshared everything about his past relationships. The third damn right, joined by all 3 of them, is about how both lovers feel and connect to each other. Overall, it is just good storytelling, with increasingly interesting delivery from all artists as the song progresses. It just keeps getting better and not boring after each chorus. That's why I called it a linear dynamic. This type of chemistry was what I was looking for in the previous 2 tracks. Objectively, this was the best song on Ruby, and objectively, also the best song on this list so far. Next, we have another Ruby track, Love Hangover. R&B really suits Jennie, huh? Love Hangover is definitely also one of the better tracks in the album and almost touches the crown of damn right. There's one thing that I've been wanting to say since no one was pointing it out was how Jennie's first lines are kinda similar to Doja Cat's verse in You Right.
Fight me, fight me, fight me. You make me so unlike me. I don't wanna talk on me, honey. I got a man, but I want you. I got a man, but I want you. And it's just nerves, it's just deep.
Anyway, the song discovers a complicated post-breakup back-and-forth situation of a couple who's still very fucked with each other. They knew they're not meant to be and had already broken up until the other one came over and they forgot everything, and Loki fell in love again, and then just felt shitty and regretful the day after. Hence the title, Love Hangover. The vocal dynamics between 2 artists in this song are kinda similar to Damn Right, as Jennie's vocal delivery are often more sensual and slower, while Dominic Fike came in mid-song with a rap ranting about how confused he is and their history. I called this dynamic a swirl because of how the 2 narrators drove each other crazy endlessly. But now for the ranking, I think it's a good collaboration, but maybe not on the same level as Damn Right. Let's dissect that for a second. Damn Right is in the first tier because all three artists play an equal part and support each other in each section to lead to a climax. While Love Hangover is a bit simpler and Dominic plays a smaller part than Jenny. And his verse is good, but definitely not on the same level as Childish Gambino's. All things considered, it deserves a second tier. I think Extra L is my first time seeing a collaboration between a Black and an Asian female rapper. Well, technically, Nicki is half Black, half Asian, but you know what I mean. Their capybara alligator dynamic is so unique and interesting. And the song's theme about female empowerment is just a cherry on top. Intersectionality and solidarity between women of color are very needed, even if it's performative. In previous songs, Jenny is the vocalist, but now as a rapper, the stake is different. We're comparing her bar for bar now. And I think that compared to other female K-pop rappers, Jenny's delivery, flow, and pen game in this one are of the stronger tier. And I even respect her more as a rapper as she's now writing her own lyrics more. But now she's on the same track with Doechii, a rap album Grammy winner, the real lyrical rapper. Everything just looks like child play. Doechii's verse elevates the song by miles with her Swamp Queen delivery. The gap is there, but not too wide. This is still a Jenny song, and Doechii brings in the climax. Jenny can still keep up with her and not get lost, especially when they go back and forth at the end. Jenny's lower tone complements Doechii's sharper one. Delivery wide, top tier, but maybe I would wish for more harder verse lyrically from the girls, especially after hearing the mixtape. Still a good song, though, and a good collaboration. Handlebars suits Jenny's voice, but I can also see it can be a Dua Lipa's track also. Like if it's not a collaboration, I can imagine this being the solo track from either of them. But when the voice is a bit too similar, there's not too much exciting chemistry going on to explore. I call this dynamic twin, as they both sing alternatively from the same perspective, with little alternative delivery or lyrics of being lovesick. Of course, the song is a decent bop, and their voices blend well together, but the whole song just flows towards the end. That being said, I don't think it deserves the third tier. Just a lower second tier. We have the last collaboration from Ruby, which is the Coraline-coded intro Jane. I don't even know how to rank this track, as it's just Jenny's vocals and FKJ is more of an instrumental artist. But listening to his discography, I can definitely see his influence on the track with the mysterious and nostalgic vibe. The lyrics are too short for me to explore any story or narrative. But I guess with the name Jane, she's running as fast as possible to say I love you to herself, thus embracing her identity. Either Jenny, Ruby, or Jane. Despite being short and minimal, I respect its effort of being somewhat original and less generic. I think it deserves the third tier. When I'm with you. Let's move on to Lisa's alter ego, starting with her track When I'm With You featuring Tyla. Or should I say, a Tyla's track featuring Lisa? Because I swear to God, this sound can blend seamlessly in Tyla's debut album, and in contrast, kinda a black sheep in alter ego. Tyla's signature vocal owns this track, and the fact that she has more important lines such as the chorus than Lisa on her own song kinda makes it worse, or better, because I don't know how the song would turn out if restructured. Anyway, the song's basically Hot Girl Summer. The narrator is single and ready to mingle. Nothing much, but at least it's fun. And Lisa's rap does not sound out of place from Tyla's, and they match each other well. But I guess my problem is still that this song cannot exist without Tyla, but can exist without Lisa. It sounds more like a remixed Tyla track that needs a rapper to feature in. The imbalance is there. Still a catchy song, though, but not that phenomenal. Isn't it wild that Megan Thee Stallion is not just the only one collaborating with all of the big three? Not once, but also 2 times each? Anyway, this is one of the tracks that I can tell that Megan just put on lil effort to make some cash, and Lisa didn't think of her first when making the song as she also prepared the solo version. And even if not, The chemistry is not that strong, and Megan's verse feels very separated from Lisa and can be attached and detached freely. Lyrics-wise, also not the best bars from both of them, as it's just a repackaged version of Money and about flexing how rich they are. It's not generic, but it's just weak and boring, especially when Megan set the standard high with her album run last year. She's in the third tier.
Woke up in that morning again.
Fuck Up the World is also the same case. Future's verse is put on and can also be put off. Don't get me wrong, his verse is decent. I personally like how he rhymes and name-dropped multiple premium brands in the lyrics. But since the song itself is very one-dimensional and minimal in its theme, there's not much to work around the lyrics for the rapper. And as a part of the song, I don't see his verse has a lot of chemistry and interesting dynamic with Lisa's verse, which is objectively weaker in terms of lyricism. If this is a K-pop song and being put in the K-pop context, I would not be this critical since K-pop rappers are just trained for their delivery and flow rather than lyricism. But Lisa's trying to make it in the West, thus this track lacks enough substance to actually compete with lyrical rappers here. An approach that would benefit this song, in my opinion, is to change from flexing, "I am about fuck up the world," to explaining why she felt the need to do that. What causes her to do that other than just feeling rich and beautiful? At least the song is not too horrible, but just so unmemorable for a main track to rank high on this list. After some flops, Lisa finally leads us to some really interesting territory with one of her best songs ever, New Woman, featuring ROSALÍA. A lot of people didn't get the song at first, but then slowly grew to appreciate it, as one of the common criticisms was how abrupt ROSALÍA's second verse was, compared to the flow initially by Lisa. But I disagree. I think the switch up to ROSALÍA was intentional to display a contrast dynamic. Lisa's rap and vocal verse are fast, full of energy, signaling her impatience to grow into the new woman that she's always been wanting to explore, just like how the lyrics go right in the first lines. ROSALÍA's verse contrasts in so many different ways, from the language switched to her native Spanish to the slowed down tempo. Her delivery and lyrics are more assured and composed than Lisa's. ROSALÍA already knows that she's the version that her past self has achieved. If Lisa has to hype herself up by ROSALÍA said, "Bitch, I'm ROSALÍA, I only know how to serve." Probably because she has more experience than Lisa as an artist, especially as a solo artist. And now in this song, she symbolizes a mentor to support Lisa on her journey. And that empowerment is shown very effectively in the final chorus when they harmonize. This type of balance and connection was what I was looking for in her other collabs. The song wouldn't exist or work without either of them, as both bring different flavors and layers to the narrative. Lisa's performance in this song isn't overshadowed by ROSALÍA. She's complemented by her featuring. And also because this song brings a deeper layer to her brand. Previous songs recycle the same old image of how rich and bad bitch she is, while New Woman explores her hardship and personal pain as an idol. And that's what is so great about it and makes it one of the best collaborations in K-pop history. We all rooted for Born Again to be the next Bang Bang or the next Lady Marmalade, but it just doesn't quite get there yet. I think partly because of how poorly it was promoted and how all three of them don't put much effort in promoting it aside from a few TikTok videos. And then they didn't even perform it when all three of them got the deal to perform at the Scar, but instead perform some James Bond tributes, which I fail to see how it's connected to them. Back to the song, it's up there with New Woman and one of the two best songs from Alter Ego. I really like how all three of them got both a rap verse and a vocal verse to showcase their flexibility. I call this dynamic the tripod, as all three understood the assignments to hold up the song. The songs sound so polished and exquisite and full. I guess that my only problem lies in the fact that you can tell that this is originally a Raye's song, especially by looking at the difference in vocal performance between her and Lisa. Don't get me wrong, Lisa sounds good in here. In fact, one of the better vocal performances in her discography, but she really set herself up when singing the same verse with Raye. Lisa was not a vocalist in BLACKPINK. Finally,
So
we
now
have
compared to a
BLACKPINK's
real
first
vocalist
Western
like
collaboration with
her
Dua Lipa
vocals are
in
so
Kiss
overshadowed
and Makeup by Raye's powerful technique. When they went back-to-back in the chorus, I could feel the gap so clearly and was a little bit disappointed. I think Lisa was more memorable in her intro rap, where her lines aren't the same with other girls. But again, it was child's play compared to Doja's captivating flow later. It's a bit tough when you're the weakest link in your songs. But still, I love the song, love the feminist theme, love the mixing and production, and Lisa's delivery wasn't that bad. Raye and Doja Cat were just more phenomenal. I am hesitant between the first and second tier, but realizing that we might not have this type of collaboration soon again in K-pop or pop in general makes me want to give it bonus points and rank it first for encouragement. Do I think APT is the biggest hit in K-pop since Gangnam Style?
Yes!
But do I also think the sound is not that great or innovative and can get overplayed?
Yes!
But still, do I think it is one of the best collaborations in pop music ever? Also,
Yes!
the flirty dynamic between Rosé and Bruno Mars is immaculate. APT's samples were already used so many times in other global hits and could get so generic at that point. But Rosé added her own Korean culture charm into it by making the hook a Korean drinking game that is not just unique to South Korea culture, but also Rosé's playful party personality. She acts as the flirty narrator who invites the boy to join the party and play the game with her. And Bruno Mars comes right in and goes with the flow as he accepts the invitation and is also a party person. I love how he adds a little Korean in his lyrics as a way to join Rosé. Rosé's first pre-chorus sets the catchy tone, but Bruno's second pre-chorus adds an extra layer and personality to it. And then the bridge slows down before the outro hits the climax, which is so heavenly. Their voices harmonize and are layered so well. Each section just keeps building up a momentum before hitting as high as possible. And those were the reasons why APT didn't become an annoying childish hit like ABC de Foo and an actual great collaboration. The energies of two real vocalists are just there. I may not really love the song that much, but I will never deny that it's one of the best collaborations in K-pop. Okay, hear me out. One of the Girls is amid the Weeknd song and a soundtrack from a terrible series, but overall a great collaboration. I don't even know what's in their air, but whenever Jennie does a three-way collaboration, the song is about sex, and is great, especially in the harmony and R&B sound. This has the same dynamics as Damn Right. In this one, Jennie does not have that much line compared to the others, but I think there's a reason for it. As an OST, they are both portraying their characters well in this song. I quit the series 2 episodes in because of how trash it was, but I know enough context to understand. Jennie's character. Diane was a side character and always a backup option compared to the main girl character, although she also has a thing for the Weeknd's fuckboy/producer character. And not just the character, I also think the lyrics match her life well as an idol. She's on top of the world, but she's not free, with a bound of contracts and NDA. Although she has to love in secret at least, she found a person to feel love and safety in. The Weeknd and Lily Rose Depp are not out of character as well. On screen or off screen, The Weeknd both portrays a horny, toxic boyfriend. And Jocelyn is very coded in Lily Rose Depp's lines. If this was only The Weeknd's song, it would be forgettable and mild. But with the girls, it adds a bit more interesting layers, context, and harmony, especially the final chorus when they all come in. It became the most streamed hit by a K-pop female act for a reason. I'm not into the Dom subsex lyrics, but I enjoy the production. Overall, I think it deserves the first tier. It's not really my cup of tea, but a lot of people's cup of tea.
Slow motion.
Slow Motion is kinda a rare case in the sense that I do love the song and think it is a great addition to Jennie's discography and artistry, but as a collaboration, I don't think she and Matt Champion really show their best here. In better words, I love and respect Jennie's little indie and experimental moment in this track that was a base for her to make Zen or Starlight. A lot of people don't like the beat switch and think it makes Slow Motion the worst Jennie's song, but I disagree. It shows that Jennie is capable beyond basic pop and K-pop. The song explores the theme of loving so much that you wish time would stop to allow the two lovebirds to love each other easilier and in forever. But when the beat switches up fast in the chorus, they know that it's just an impossible dream, and they still have to respect the mortal rule of time. I guess that what I meant by this Not a really outstanding collaboration is that the dynamic between the two aren't really complementing the song, both lyrically and vocally. Both narrators are basically singing the same story and portraying the same emotion without any variance or individuality to each of them. And in terms of vocals, Jennie's softer and lighter tone are not really complemented by the harmony of Matt Champion's deeper tone and depressive singing style, unlike her collaborators in One of the Girls or Damn Right. They sound like two parallel lines that do not cross, as I'd like to call their dynamic. In addition, after finding Matt Champion through this song and then listening to his discography, he has shown better sound. I still love the song though, but as a collaboration, it is not outstanding enough. This is a poor attempt to create a Taki Taki 2.0, and if it weren't for this dynamic, I would be more forgiving. But the comparisons are bound to be made. In both songs, all collaborators have their own verses, and there aren't much harmony and dynamics at play here, as the songs are basically just Hot Girl Summer. I called those types of dynamics homework, but everyone does it solo. However, DJ Snake's beat in SG would have been less outdated if it was released in the 2010s like Taki Taki. Ozuna's performance was also much catchier and better in Taki Taki than SG. Megan's rap was decent and could have been on par with Cardi's if she had more lines. Like Cardi B has almost twice of singing times and was able to switch between different feisty flows and even languages. I actually like Lisa's verse and think she's the catchiest one here, but Selena's verse was too legendary. And in terms of promotion, at least the Taki Taki's lineup was in the same room with each other. Anyway, when you're a copy, you will never surpass the OG.
I bet you wanna, I bet you wanna, I bet you wanna, I bet you, I bet you, I bet you wanna.
I have a personal beef with this song, as I think it is one of the worst songs in BLACKPINK's discography. It's so corporate music, elevator music, mall music, or whatever you call it. I think it's because of the repetitive pre-chorus and the generic beat. Ugh, it's so annoying. Cardi's verse is fine, but too short to have any dynamics with BLACKPINK and to save the song for me. This was one of the rare times where the Pinks showed off their vocals and harmonized and added some ad-libs, which I appreciate, but as a song and a collaboration, I despite it to the core and don't want to remember it.
Ice cream, chillin', chillin', ice cream, chillin', ice cream, chillin', chillin'.
I am a little bit of a defender of ice cream. As a song, at least it is not too generic and formulaic and captures the summer vibe well and has some decent hooks like the chorus. Lisa's rap was catchy as hell, and I like that she raps a bit in Korean. As a collaboration, I like how both BLACKPINK and Selena went verse for verse with each other without one overshadowing another. It's almost like she's the fifth member of BLACKPINK. I called this dynamic weaving, as while they are not harmonizing, the collaborator blends right into the group. The sex innuendo and summer lyrics suit both parties well, especially Selena. It's not deep, but both BLACKPINK and Selena's brands are known to make simple pop hits. That's as far as my defense can go, because without the visuals or promotions, it would have never been as hit as it was because the beat was so plain. And then COVID probably prevented the girls from filming in the same set or adding some harmonies. Overall, it is in the third tier.
Sour candy, so sweet that I get a little angry, yeah. Sour candy.
A runway-coded track was kinda perfect for a collaboration between BLACKPINK and Mother Monster, as both are fashion icons in their respective industries. I like how whenever there's a collaboration between two artists from different cultures, they keep their native language in. And BLACKPINK starting off with some Korean chorus and verses and then leading to the climax in the pre-chorus and refrain with Lady Gaga's stronger vocals, before coming down with BLACKPINK's chorus again just makes sense. The structure of this song is so different from both artists' normal solo formulas, but it works for them as a collaboration, as I called this dynamic the mountain, as we both have the climb up, the peak, and the drive down. One more bonus point is that all four girls have equal contribution and sound comfortable with their verses. Especially with Jisoo, as in some collaborations like Ice Cream. She sounds a bit off and different from the rest, mostly due to language barriers. My only criticism is that the song's lyrics aren't that interesting, and I hope that Gaga would harmonize with the girls more, but hey, COVID ruins everything. And also as a Chromatica track, it sounds a bit off from the current flow of the album. It is still a good collab though, a significant one in fact, as it is the first time a K-pop band collaborated with a main pop girl. Finally, we have BLACKPINK's first Western collaboration with Dua Lipa in Kiss and Makeup. I have almost the same feeling for it like sour candy. Again, I love how BLACKPINK is singing in Korean in this one, and how Jisoo's voice specifically suits this song and matches Dua Lipa's tones in the bridge. The sound bridges the gap between two artists as both can own the song on their own terms. But again, I also wish the lyrics could be more interesting, but maybe I'm expecting too much since both Dua Lipa and BLACKPINK are not storytelling and lore-investing lyricists. Overall, a great first collaboration that opened many doors for them later on. So that's it. I don't think I have missed any other Western collab from them. I heard that there's a rumor that they are about to collaborate with Baby Rexha next, so I hope that I can finish this video before that. Looking at the ranking, I think it's solid, but if you have any different opinion, please comment it down below. But for now, thank you and goodbye.
Yes!